All right, I appreciate everybody hanging in here. It's 3:48. We'll be done about 4:05, so we can head to the social and have more networking. We're at the report back session now, so we're going to hear from each of the sectors. And I know there was a lot of good conversation. I was in most of the sessions. But we really are going to push our report back speakers to focus on two things. What is the biggest opportunity within your sector? Not all 5, not all 10. What's the number one biggest opportunity, and where is the most work needed? That's what we want. That's what we want to hear. We will pick up other information from your report back form to seed the conversations tomorrow. But right now, we just want to give some thought starters for when we go to the social, so you can have more conversations, because you just can't stop talking about infrastructure. Also, I'd like to point out the social is to be sponsored from 4 to 5, but there's some hubbub going on in Topeka about a big announcement. So we are going to live stream that so we can all hear at the same time at 5 o'clock. So the social has been extended a bit if anyone would like to stay to hear what all the big news is about. We've got some more folks coming in. I bet this might be one more breakout session. We're going to have 5 speakers come up and talk with us. No, 6. So we'll have, and I'll read off your order. So we'll start. Is Amanda in the house? Got it. Okay, Amanda's here. Earl? Earl's in. Okay, Jeff, I know. I've seen you, Jeff. Jade, is Jade back? You got right. Okay. Okay, you got it. Okay. Lee is here. Okay. And then Tracy. I know I've seen Tracy. Okay. So we'll follow that order. Amanda, if you want to come up, and it's the 2 things, please.
Okay, so from the transportation panel, I think the biggest opportunity that was identified is partnership and coordination across jurisdictional boundaries. I'm not just saying that because I'm from the MPO, it came from the crowd too. And then the most work needed possibly is also on partnerships and coordination across jurisdictional boundaries, but I think there were 2 things that kind of tied in that. One was workforce, making sure we have the workforce available, the support to the workforce to support things like prevailing wage and the and Davis-Bacon wages, things like that, that there's workforce needs from a personnel standpoint and from a supporting of the existing workforce standpoint, and then prioritization of what projects we actually put forward for consideration for funding, where it seems like a lot of money coming in, but there's still a limit on what we can apply for. So how do we prioritize those projects in a way that keeps them competitive but meaningful for the state going forward? Boom.
Thank you. Who's next on the? Okay, Earl knows.
Earl. Yes.
All right, thank you. Speaking for resiliency, the biggest opportunity that we identified is just renewed interest in resiliency and funding for projects that have maybe fell off the radar for being a priority in the nation and certainly in the state of Kansas for a long time. I think probably the most work needed is just having the capacity to implement our plan, the leadership, the understanding of who to contact, and then the resources at the local level to write those grants and make those contacts and get things in place. So I think those are what we need most. And who is Jeff, right?
All righty, for the cybersecurity panel, so again, kind of a little bit of repeat. Again, biggest opportunity is definitely the coordination and collaboration, something that we really need to keep the momentum of the summit going and kind of make it just normal habit. So again, that's probably the biggest opportunity, and kind of where the most work is needed is, again, a little bit of that coordination, collaboration as well, because again, we haven't historically been doing it from the cybersecurity perspective. It's where there's going to need to be a lot of work, and also part of that, as almost the second biggest, is kind of the workforce and the severe shortage of cybersecurity professionals and the ability to support rural areas and things like that. So again, readout from cybersecurity. Broadband.
From the energy group, The biggest opportunity, of course, we really couldn't follow the directions and come up with one, so I'm going through the notes and giving, but it really is system upgrades to support modernization and resiliencies, really with a focus on economic growth and vitality. Where the most work is needed, and I think this probably was in many of the groups, as well as how do we coordinate and streamline the communications with the federal government on the specific requirements. A lot of this is being built on the fly, and so a lot of those details are still left out. And then probably the other biggest piece is really about a potential for the state match piece of that, and what are some innovative ways that we can maybe get after that.
Hi there. So for broadband, the biggest opportunity to make a difference, we believe that broadband should be treated like any other utility. It's a necessity, not a luxury. Where is the most work needed? Similar to everyone else's responses, more partnerships, more collaboration. Local communities need to be involved, both understanding the complexities, but helping providers, local governments determine where the needs are, but also working with business communities, HOAs, pole owners, railroads, you name it, we need to all work together.
Okay, for water and wastewater, biggest opportunities with the formula-driven funds going through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment is primarily taking advantage of the lead and copper line replacement funding. That's the biggest bucket of money that's in bill through the EPA, KDHE programs. First step in that is getting inventory done. And so there's funding still available right now to do that. So we need to provide the resources to the communities to know what they need to do to take the first step to complete that inventory, and then obviously follow up with a replacement plan. The competitive funds that are out there seem to fall into the Bureau of Reclamation agency, and that's an agency that serves Kansas and 16 other states, primarily focused on reuse, recycling, conveyance, and storage. And we think there are tremendous opportunities to work on regional efforts to address some of our biggest concerns in Kansas, like the declines in the Ogallala Aquifer through Bureau of Reclamation programs. The other thing that was mentioned is some of our legacy projects that we have in Kansas that communities just haven't tackled, and deferred maintenance programs and projects should be dusted off and considered during this historic opportunity. As far as barriers, supply chain is going to be a problem for us here at least in the near term. And then Buy America, Build America is going to be a challenge, particularly on some of our projects that are ongoing that want to take advantage of these funding. They're in mid-planning, mid-design, and our BABA requirements going to require, and if you didn't talk about BABA in your groups, it's Buy America, Build America requirements for procurement of all materials going into the project. Capacity, staffing, just to get the job done at all levels is a barrier. And then understanding what the technical resources we have in Kansas. We actually have pretty good technical support on the water space. We need to get the word out to our folks to do that. Okay, actions. We think there needs to be consideration for some state matching funds, and Secretary Lorenz talked about that kind of globally this morning. A toolkit for helping folks maneuver through the lead and copper rule and the lead funding. Local community champions need to be identified to work on these projects. And the other thing that came up that was unique in our session is we've got communities that are probably going to go after water opportunities and perhaps transportation opportunities. We think the hub should provide some coordination so that we can maximize and be the most efficient we can be when we're trying to deal with multiple sector issues. And finally, we think with a lot of our growth in Kansas and water and wastewater is driven by industrial growth, and we think there's opportunities to bring the private sector into some of these funding scenarios and bring another partner to the table. So P3s need to be looked at very strongly. Thanks.
Very good. Lots of food for thought. These ideas will get plugged in tomorrow as we first meet in community group size, and then we will meet at a regional level. I want to say thank you as we get ready to head into the social. The South Central Coalition is sponsoring our social this afternoon is Andrew Weems. Are you in the, he may already be over there. There he is, back there. So I think it's important to note the reason that I want to call this out is A, we appreciate the support, but B, this is a good model for us to take a look at as we think about the work that that coalition does to coordinate priorities, and they're quite effective advocates. Certainly we see other parts of the state that also collaborate well, but it's just something to keep in mind how we have a lot of good ideas here. We need to take them from ideas to implementation. That's part of what we'll work on tomorrow. So your charge for this afternoon is more networking, have fun, brainstorm, 5 o'clock, big announcement, all great stuff. Be back here at 9 tomorrow morning. So we started at 10 today. We're going to start at 9 tomorrow. Weird but true, please bring your name tag. It's we appreciate the recycling, but more importantly, on the back is where you have your room assignments. Okay, if you lose your name tag, nobody's going to freak out. Just take a picture of it right now, and then you don't have to bring it tomorrow. Entirely up to you, okay? And we've got a live stream at 5 o'clock for the announcement that we're all looking forward to. I think that's it for today. Thank you all so much. We've had great progress. We've got a long way to go. That's a great start. Thank you.